Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good sir. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
All right. Hey, thanks for taking time to talk with us. It's like 9 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and you're still in the office taking time to talk to the community. So we appreciate the work ethic and the dedication, obviously.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's get started since I know that you got to get back to your family. Um, I want to
Hope you're
talk,
well. You've been doing well. You should
yeah.
come to the shop sometime. You're not that far away. You do
No,
this.
no, I've been trying to set up a time with Chris, and like things have come up,
Yeah.
and oh yeah, I'm hoping to come down sometime in the next month or so, hopefully. So hopefully I'll see you down there again.
Random
Um,
got this background, but
yeah,
hopefully.
that looks great. You got the real one. I got the virtual one. Is that okay? That is Gamma
Yeah.
behind you, but the wheel covers are off.
Yeah, we just got back from an event. I think it was up
Okay.
at Dana Point for something. There was some YouTube review.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you were
Oh,
at some
cool.
investor thing a few days ago or last
Yeah,
week or
we're up
something.
in Newport Beach,
Hmm.
hobnobbing,
Okay.
hanging out with the wealthy folk of Newport Beach, and yeah,
Yeah.
having a good time.
Okay. Yeah. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about first. It's probably not the most fun topic, but a very important one, money. And there was a mention about Steve talked about that there was maybe four different pathways that you guys could get into production. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. Money is the lubrication that gets Apteras flowing to the world quicker.
Hmm.
And we wish that the markets were a little more kind, but the last 2 years have been a bit of turmoil, and the last few months have been a bit of turmoil. But the interesting thing about interest rates going up is the debt markets have kind of exploded. So we've been exploring some options on the debt side. We've been exploring some sovereign options, not a lot of capital moving on the equity side in the US, but in Europe, parts of Asia and the Middle East, people are buying technology, and we are it.
Hmm.
We are bleeding edge technology in many ways. So those conversations are going well, and New York seems to be having a little life breathed into it. So the ARM IPO was recently pretty successful.
Hmm.
Um, and those guys forecast 6 months, a year out. So I think they're starting to feel better about some of these deals coming together in IPO work and equity deals in general. So obviously we would like for somebody to buy up the 500 accelerator spots that are left for
Hmm.
$500,000 each, and put some money in the bank, and then have that inspire a billionaire to just write us a healthy check that we could move on into production. But um, as expected, it's taken longer and been more complex than anyone thought. And I
Hmm.
think it'll probably be a mix of a lot of different things. It won't be just one piece of debt or one inspired billionaire. It'll be a little this and a little that and a little crowdfunding and a little of equipment financing and a little of our suppliers stepping up and saying, we'll front the capital for this, and you guys can push, push, push.
Hmm.
And we've had a few of them do that, and some
Okay.
more recent deals too. So we are pushing towards production. Even though some of the market forces on the financing side have been against us, and just a couple of weeks here now, we'll be finishing up the tub with CPC, and that will be our full body structure. We're as ready for production as we've ever been,
Hmm.
in that regard. And we've already locked down 92% of our bill of materials in terms of value. There's a little bit left to go, screws and hoses and stuff like that, but the vehicle is ostensibly done. So now we just have to go about the work of getting the tools and equipment, going through some ED&T and development work with people like the ABS supplier and the airbag supplier that has to program the computer that launches the airbag and that sort of stuff. And that work is underway, and the next few months will be exciting for sure.
Yeah. So I know, crowdfunding has been very good for you guys. And obviously the Aptera story and vision is very attractive to a lot of people. A lot of people are very, very interested and invested in Aptera. But have you guys gotten any investors in the past year or two, other than the what shows up on the accelerator program, like bigger investors that maybe don't care about that and not are not on the thing? Because you
Yeah,
guys
you
have been
know,
talking to people for, ever since things started. I mean, that's like basically your full-time job is trying to find money for this.
yeah, we as the market started to crumble, we were really looking for institutional capital. So,
Mhm.
a big check from a big institution that would give us some kind of credibility,
Mhm.
and we just went out a little too late to make
Mhm.
those deals happen. So we did not raise that institutional capital, and it was really the end of last year, heading into Q1 of this year, where we're like, well, we've played this strategy out too long.
Mhm.
We start coming up with some new strategies. So that was Steve and myself hopping on the phone, getting on the plane, heading to Europe and Asia and the Middle East,
Mhm.
shaking the right hands and talking to the right people to try to bring together some of these bigger deals.
Yeah,
Mm, those deals are still underway and still progressing, but but nothing has officially closed yet.
I
Um,
see.
we have had some options that we could have taken along the way.
Uh-huh.
We didn't feel that those options were healthy for the company, though. So,
Right.
you know,
I
the
mean,
deal.
a lot of us suspect that maybe you guys were offered things, but you had to give up too much control, or the vision of Aptera might have been diluted by certain options, and maybe that's maybe you can't really talk about those, but
Yeah, I mean, some of the options were to not do as much here in the U.S., but to do them in other places of the world.
mhm.
Not so much that we would lose control of the company. I
Uh,
think Steve and I positioned the company very well to not lose control of the company. So
right.
there's no scenario that we're considering where we lose control of the company.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we need the right deal, and the right deal comes with the ability to scale into high volume manufacturing quickly. And
Mhm.
we want to deliver 1 million of these Aptera by 2033. So,
Mhm.
we don't want to start slow. We want to start fast. We want to start here because we've already invested in the supply chain and the mechanisms to build vehicles in Southern California. So if you yank that out and go, put it in Ireland or somewhere else, then
Mhm.
it's starting over from all the work
Yeah.
we did here and have to do it somewhere else. So,
Right. And you've already taken like grant money from California and stuff. That
yeah, we've kind of made intrinsic promises,
yeah.
to be here in California and add jobs here in California. And we
Mhm.
love Carlsbad. It's a good place to be, and we want to
Mhm.
be enormously successful here, and then build a factory up north in San Francisco and Texas and Georgia and Virginia and
Mhm.
Australia and the Netherlands and Germany and maybe England or Ireland over time.
Right.
And really spread the Aptera ethos around the world. But it all starts in Carlsbad, and we've had some things come up where maybe you guys could come over here and do it over here, and we've said no, we don't like that. So
Mhm. So did I hear correctly that you guys plan on getting at least to low volume production without additional, like, any inspired billionaire? Like, it's not necessary, because we know we've heard you guys say that you need $50 million to make it to initial high volume production, and that so far hasn't surfaced. But is there a plan? Like, can you make it to low volume production and deliver some customer vehicles without that happening?
yeah, I mean, ostensibly that's what we're doing now. The
Yeah.
first production intent builds and the validation builds. I mean, we are building vehicles, so that is low volume production.
Mhm.
Everyone's kind of told us though that if you want to scale, design the facility, hire the people, work the supply chain such that they can hand you 80 vehicles a day worth of parts.
Mhm.
Don't start with 2 vehicles a day, because then if you go to 10 vehicles a day, everybody loses their mind that, oh, it's impossible to go from 2 to 10. You want to go from 10 to 80 a day, then people really shit their pants.
Mhm.
So we want to raise the money to get this into 20,000 units a year here in Carlsbad, California. But it's just the nature of getting this vehicle certified, and getting kind of the durability and general testing done, that we've got to build a lot of vehicles to do that. So we will be in limited production, here in just a few months, and
Mhm.
that will be because we have to get the airbags calibrated and work on the ABS and the spring rates, and work on NVH and where we're going to put the noise dampening and stiffness of the seals for the door. There's a laundry list of stuff, and it takes more than a dozen vehicles just to do the basics, and some more, to kind of do the niceties. And if
Mhm.
you want to do some marketing along the way, you better have some pretty vehicles mixed in there. So
Yeah.
So the goal is to get the first production intent vehicle built as quick as possible, learn from that, and then immediately start on 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, 20,
Mhm.
and, have vehicles running around, getting us third party validation, getting us good press,
Mhm.
getting us crash video, getting us, skid pad test video. I mean, Gamma's been great.
Yeah.
We introduced Gamma a year ago, and it did take some time to finish up some of the odds and ends, but now we have a whole new body structure, and a lot of new components from here, where the component made it on the vehicle, but the component for production is just way different, way cheaper, way different to install. The wiring harness, you wouldn't even be able to, if you laid the wiring harness for Gamma out on a table and you looked at the production harness, it would just look nothing like the wiring harness. So there's a lot of unique things that had to evolve for the production intent build,
Mhm.
but it's gone to plan. I think the extra time is kind of a blessing that, if we would have gotten that inspired billionaire a year ago, year and a
Mhm.
half ago, we'd have had some real supply chain issues trying to slam this into production,
Mm.
and definitely cost us more to not have the time to plan it correctly. So, hopefully investors realize that, hey, these guys have more than a complete vehicle. They've worked with some of the industry best.
Mhm.
CPC in Italy, having worked on some of the most amazing supercars in the world. We also have an amazing engineering group over in Italy now. Sandy Monroe and Monroe and Associates, Yazaki helping us with the wiring harness, some great tier one battery suppliers on the battery pack side. I mean, we've really gotten a coalition over the
Mhm.
last year of some amazing groups that will make this the most manufacturable vehicle in the world. I truly believe that,
Mhm.
and that will reduce costs and add surety to our production timeline and make a very durable and high quality vehicle right off the bat. I
Mhm.
think a lot of other companies have kind of stepped into production without the partners that we've had, and they paid the price.
Mhm.
From wiring harnesses, one of the biggest failures in a lot of new motorcycle and vehicle programs is connectors. So we designed a wiring harness that just had the least amount of connectors possible, and
Mhm.
then we went to the world's best wire harness company, Yazaki. They're in half of every new car sold, and
Right.
we're so inspired by our vision for solar mobility. They embedded several engineers here for several months and helped us really refine that wiring harness, and that takes a big risk factor off for our reliability.
Mhm.
And same thing with the body structure. The next thing mechanically is the stuff that you use a lot. So it's the steering column, steering wheel, the stuff you touch in the interior, and the doors. Every time you get in and out of any vehicle, you're opening and closing the door.
Mhm.
So, a lot of vehicle engineers would say, a car program really starts with the doors, and then
Mhm.
you build the rest of the vehicle around it. We have very unique doors. So, to have Roush Engineering help us design those doors, and then have CPC help us refine them, means that we'll have a very well tolerance door made out of carbon. It's going to have, great tolerance stack up, and, the hinges that we're using are pretty amazing, and the latches are reliable and have already been on hundreds of thousands of vehicles. So, wiring harness, body structure, doors, suspension with automotive grade components. I think we've done a really good job the last year of kind of ticking through a lot of high risk areas and making them as low risk as possible. So hopefully that all bleeds through to the investors, and they go, yeah, I'm going to help you build 1 million vehicles in the next 10 years.
Mhm. Is one thought like to get into like low volume production, and then once you've established that you have a supply chain and you have a vehicle and customers are buying it, to go IPO to get money for that? Is that like a plan maybe?
Maybe there
Mhm.
are some IPO options that
Mhm.
really don't depend on revenue, but can
Mhm.
can get you out there and can raise you some capital.
Mhm.
Obviously everybody wants liquidity, so the markets give you liquidity. So if the investors know, hey, there's liquidity on the other side, it's easier to invest in the program, knowing that you don't have to wait for the company to exist for another 6 or 8 years, and then for the management to go, oh, we think we should do an IPO now.
Mhm.
Some companies happen like that, like commodity companies and stuff. They're able to pay dividends along the way, and the investors just soak up the dividends. But we're a tech company. We're always going to be reinvesting. So, kind of the golden strategy is get the company public, and then that's the liquidity that people are looking for.
All right, so thanks for watching, guys. There will be a part 2 and 3 of this interview. It's quite long, so I thought I'd break it up. We're going to talk more about some technical things about the Aptera in parts 2 and 3. So stay tuned for that. And I'd like to thank especially our supporting members and our newest supporting members, Chris Marriott and Roger Erickson. Appreciate all you guys' support. All right, thanks for watching it, everyone, and have a great day.